So I'm just about to pop out to a networking event, but I just wanted to quickly share with you some learnings that we've had this week at Belvista Studios. So something we've really been noticing is how important it is to create e-learning that isn't too overwhelming, doesn't have too much text on the screen, so the users sort of just looking at it, feeling their eyes glazing over and giving up on comprehending the information. So I guess recently we've had a few projects where we've had content that's quite wordy, so really big blocks of information, and we've been really focusing on how we can split that information up and make sure that the experience for the user is a good experience and they're not stuck reading all of this text and often not being able to remember half of it because there's so much there and too much to comprehend. So I'm just going to share with you some tips that we have at Belvista Studios that have sort of come up recently and would love to share them with you. So let's get into it. So I want you to look at this screen. This screen is an example of an e-learning screen that has too much text. So you can see that there's a lot of text on the screen. There's a few key points, but you can't really tell where the points are. There's no headings to show the separation between the points. So I want you to look at this screen and just reflect on how you feel when you're looking at it. So does it feel like something that you want to read through, or is it something that you'd rather just move on to the next thing because it's too much? Often people, when they look at this screen, their eyes will glaze over and it won't be something that they'll want to read, and they may get frustrated and just want to figure out what the key points are. So yeah, that's an example of a screen that has too much text. So we'll have a look at how we can split this up, and this is an example that we've done at Belvista Studios. There's obviously lots of different ways that you can do it, but a great way to do it is to split the content up through buttons. So if there's different tips or different categories, you can have a button linked to each of those categories, and the user can click into those buttons and it will reveal the content in a different space on the screen. And basically it's just a way for the learner to see that the tips are separate, they can comprehend the information individually, and it just makes it a lot easier for them to figure out what the screen's about and what information they need. So yeah, that's a great way to split up content for that. There's obviously lots of other ways to do it, but that's just the example that we'll share today. So it can be really easy and a trap that you can fall into to explain something to your user, but take 3 sentences to explain something that could be said in 1. So figure out what you want your user to do and think about what your user will be thinking when they're looking at the screen. So they'll often be thinking, what's required of me? What do I need to do to progress into the module? What's my expectations on this screen? So make sure the instruction text stands out and it's really simple, so they can just read it and be like, yep, awesome, I know exactly what I need to do, and they can move on with it. I've created an example of instruction text that we've updated. So it started off quite long, and basically what the message was said in a much drawn out longer way than what it needed to be, so we ended up shortening it. So you can see the second example is much shorter, and the same message is conveyed through both of the examples, but the second one is done in a much more simpler way. So yeah, when you're writing instruction text, make sure that you keep it short and sweet. And last but not least, an awesome way to present information if you've got a lot of text is to do it through visual icons, images, graphics, and basically figure out what the concept is that you're trying to teach and see if you can convey it through graphics or icons. It's a lot easier for a lot of people to comprehend that sort of information rather than reading through, say, 500 words on what a certain concept is. If you can just display it in, say, 5 icons that have arrows and sort of little labels to show you what it all means, it makes the user experience much more simple, and the user can often take in the information at a glance rather than having to read through lots of content. So have a think about whether you can display your information visually, and yeah, give it a go, because it can have a really great impact on your module and the experience that your user has. So that's it on this tip video on keeping your content short and sweet. Remember that less can often be more in e-learning. You don't want to overwhelm your user. And if you can make a better experience for them and make it more simple for them to comprehend, then you're doing an awesome job. So give these tips a go. I really hope they added value to you, and I'll see you next time.